Kevin and Mike are here to give you great news.
Nice. Hey, welcome back to another Great News with Kevin Ryder and Mike Catherwood.
Boom.
Boom. That means subscribe if you like this show. We would appreciate that.
Yes, please subscribe, like, all that fun stuff. Download what you can. And then Kevin and I both are on all forms of social media. At the Kevin Ryder, I'm at Mike Catherwood. And we've really benefited a lot from people sending us great news stories.
Yeah,
and we've used them. And it's nice to know that we're developing essentially a network of positivity, you know? So let's get things started as an intro. Yeah, the show's about to begin, bro. It's true. Say hello to the happy, goodbye to the blues, because Kevin and Mike are here to give you great news. Cell phone, bro.
Our first story comes from Kenya. This is a school that gives a second chance to teen moms.
You've been, right?
I've been to Kenya, yeah. It was the trip of a lifetime.
It's nuts.
It was a miracle.
Yeah.
It was a miracle. The poverty, the kids that have to walk 6 miles to go to school and 6 miles back.
But are pumped about it.
All huge smiles on their faces.
Yeah, I've heard that about other African countries, that, you know, that's the thing, is that it's devastating to see people living with such intense poverty, but at the same time, their outlook on life is so much better than most Westerners that it in turn becomes uplifting. It's
crazy. Well, this story apparently, and I had no idea that this was the case, but apparently 13,000 teens get pregnant on a regular basis. And that doesn't count last year, 2020, when everybody was forced to stay at home.
Wow.
So there were a lot more. And when they get pregnant, they have to drop out of school. The school says, sorry, we can't help you. So all of those people drop out of school, and it's brutal. And they've started now another school right below Mount Kenya, where this other school is, hey, if you're pregnant or you have little kids, come to this school and we will teach you.
Now we're talking.
That's an amazing thing. Check this out.
Josephine Wanjiru's dream of becoming a nurse could have ended 2 years ago when she became pregnant. She's 19, and for teenagers in Kenya, pregnancy usually means being forced out of education. But a new school has given her renewed hope. Nestled into a hill below Mount Kenya, in the serene Haven Secondary, the sound of babies cooing punctuates lessons, and infants can be seen crawling on the stairs.
That's my aunt, the one who paid the school fees, called me. It was on December, and she asked me, Josephine, what do you think about your life? And if you can get another chance, can you go back to school? I said, yes, I can go back to school.
Serene Haven opened in January, and among its students are 17 teenage mothers and pregnant girls. In a normal year, stigma, logistics and money compel around 13,000 pregnant girls to drop out, Kenyan government data shows. That number is likely to spike this year, with lockdown restrictions fueling an increase in adolescent pregnancies, according to aid agencies. Elizabeth Muriuki, a former social worker, founded the school.
So out of the 17, you see 14 girls got pregnant during COVID period.
Muriuki was a teenage mother herself. She says her story of being able to build a career encourages pupils like Josephine that they can succeed. And with the boarding school offering counselling services and daycare, Josephine can focus on her ambitions.
I'm sure that my dream is going to come true.
How about that?
It's beautiful. Really is. English is not their native tongue, is it?
No.
How, God, doesn't it ever, I don't want to say insult you, but it
Yes.
breaks my heart.
I can't
when
speak the
people,
language.
Yes, and it's always like, every one of the young ladies that talked on that piece spoke perfect English.
Yeah.
And you would meet them and they'd be like, I'm very sorry for my English.
Yes.
And you're like, dude, it's better than
You don't
mine.
have to tell me.
Yeah.
Listen, did you see her writing?
Yeah, perfect penmanship.
Perfect.
I have a question. That reminds me. This related to the story, not at all. But
Okay.
I think an interesting question.
Okay.
Why? I can't think of any real scientific reason, but it is so true. Why is it that little girls almost always have far better penmanship than little boys? Even when the little boy is a good artist and can clearly...
Little boys are dumb.
But see that...
I mean, I was.
I agree. I was too. But little girls that have great penmanship aren't always smart. It just seems like...
I don't know.
You see like a 10-year-old girl and you take a 10-year-old boy. A 10-year-old boy looks like someone murdered it with a pencil. And then little girls are always like perfect, but yet that little girl may not be necessarily a very good artist yet, and the little boy can draw perfect pictures. It's very...
I don't know.
What is it?
I don't have the answer to that.
I don't either.
No. It's a great question, though.
Inmates.
Criminals. Yes.
Okay. They have been caught for doing a crime, and they're doing their time.
Everybody understands that with the inmate word.
And hey, everyone makes mistakes, but sometimes you can turn to the inmate population to actually help you out with their in the words of Liam Neeson, very special set of skills. Check this out. This is a crazy story.
Yeah, let's check this out. Several inmates putting their unique skill set to good use. They jumped in to help free a 1-year-old who was locked inside an SUV. Here's TJ Holmes with the video.
This video shows inmates in their striped prison uniforms breaking into a car.
What is
but
this,
sheriff's
1920s?
deputies are standing nearby, telling them, go right ahead.
The front door.
They aren't stealing a car. They're rescuing a baby.
Is she okay in there?
A 1-year-old girl who was accidentally locked inside an SUV.
You okay, baby?
After the parents called authorities for help, the group of Florida work release inmates who were nearby offered their special skill set.
The trustees are people who made mistakes. We're trying to rehabilitate them and get back in society.
The child's mother posted the video over the weekend saying Dad accidentally locked his keys inside with the girl. So before resorting to smashing a window, the inmates gave them another option. A couple of them pried open the door just enough to slide a coat hanger inside and hit the unlock button.
Yes, thank God. Woo!
Police were grateful for the inmates' skills, which they say can only be used under supervision.
Only when the deputy's around, we give permission. Can you break into that car?
There were a few tears at the end.
Honey, was that stressful?
Oh.
But the 1-year-old was just fine.
Oh, poor thing. So glad she's okay. That was TJ Holmes reporting. Listen to this. Those inmates, by the way, were able to break into that SUV in just under 2 minutes.
Hello,
That's what I'm talking about.
In under 2 minutes.
Pretty sweet though. Like that seems like a movie script. Like that that doesn't happen in real life.
There were inmates that are dressed like that. Nearby.
Where was that?
1920s.
Sure, like they look like. Remember when like the Three Stooges would go to prison? I was surprised they didn't have like a cannonball attached to their ankles. It's very strange.
That was a weird one. All right, let's talk about a Chicago restaurant owner.
Okay.
His name, I'm very sure, is
Mike Ditka.
Robert Magier.
I'll go with it.
Magiet.
Magier. Okay.
Magier.
Sure.
And his restaurant is called Taqueria Cochina.
No, look at you.
Very positive.
Nice.
He is helping out local tamale vendors. These are just people who are out on the street trying to sell their tamales, and look how he's helping them.
Oh, look at that weather.
Nope. No thanks. The guy is literally buying all of the tamales.
Oh, dude.
All of them. And I believe he's explaining it to us here, but we can't hear it. He said, he went up to one of the women and he said, if I buy all these tamales, will you get out of the cold and go home? And she said, absolutely.
How many tamales we talking?
I don't know, but here it says that he's helping
10 vendors.
10 vendors.
I'm going to say it's over 500.
Yeah, I would think
It's
so.
fair to say 50 a pop.
Oh, can we hear them now? Oh, this is snappy music, isn't it? He's been helping the Chicago community for a long time, feeding people who need to be fed.
Nice.
Imagine being a tamale vendor. Having a guy walk up to you and say, go home.
You'd
I'll
say,
take them all.
And you would say, stop messing with me.
Yeah.
Don't be a dick, dude.
I don't like them to be out here, he said. I'm going to buy the tamales.
I'm a big fan of tamales.
It's hard to...
So I thought I'd buy them all.
It's hard to read lips with the masks, isn't
Yeah.
it? And that was a guy who buys tamales.
Beautiful story. I've always dreamed.
And that's Mike Ditka.
I've always had a huge dream of like being FU rich and here in Los Angeles, I'm sure it's the same way around a lot of places, but here in Southern California, very frequently at freeway off-ramps and certain streets, there's these guys selling flowers or oranges because, you know, a lot of times Mexican or Salvadorian immigrants, they come over and these companies, they hand them and they literally stand out in the sun all day hoping that you buy. And I've always dreamed of like having like 10 grand and being like, not only am I going to buy them all, here's $4,000 extra or something. You know what I'm saying? I've always had that fantasy, but I'm not rich. You know who is rich and nice and probably would do something like this? John Cena.
Yeah.
John Cena, by and large, super well known for being an incredibly nice, considerate person. And you know, I found I don't have anything against wrestling. I know people who don't like professional wrestling or aren't into it. Oftentimes they talk shit on it.
Right.
I don't have any. I get it. I get the excitement and their athleticism is amazing. But I'm not a wrestling guy. But I have noticed an awfully large amount of professional wrestlers from the WWE in particular end up being like really solid people.
I have wondered if they're trained. I wonder if they have training to say, look, you're in a position where you could do a lot of good, because there's so many of them that are.
The one thing that I do think is maybe at play here is that like NASCAR, WWE is super focused on the relationship with the fans.
Right.
They're like obsessive about it. I did a promo spot, a radio promo thing with Kevin Harvick. Is that his name? The NASCAR guy?
I do not know.
Well, it was this NASCAR dude, and he was a big deal in NASCAR. And I was blown away by the NASCAR executives were like browbeating him and like, no. Now you go out and you shake all those people's hands
really?
and you
Wow.
make sure those are the people that pay your bills. And I do think that there's a very similar thing going on with wrestling.
But John Cena is head and shoulders above anyone else.
He's really well known. And even when he's now and proven to be a really, really talented actor, he's very good on camera. All the other actors are always like, man, he's just the nicest guy. He really is. So they kind of tricked him in a positive way. They told him he was coming in to do a commercial spot for Cricket Mobile.
Okay. Yeah.
And he's coming in, and the commercial is going to be him reading these really meaningful letters from fans.
Right.
But they had a little something extra planned. Check it out.
You have some of the best fans in the world. A few of them have written you some thank you notes.
Okay, well, let's check them out.
So these fans are actually listening in the next room.
Hey, Cena, thank you for changing my life. 2011, I was left for dead after getting hit by a car. When I woke up in the hospital, the doctor told me I would never wrestle again, let alone walk. One thing I learned from you was to never give up. Thank you for being a positive role model for a generation of kids who watched you growing up. Dear John, you have heard thousands of times, but you deserve to hear it 1,000 more. Thank you. By the time I was 19 years old, I lost both of my parents. Never give up. Those words repeated in my head because you were my light in a decade of darkness. Dear John Cena, your words never give up has helped me fight for a chance to be a mother through adoption. Many years passed and things seemed impossible, but you helped me believe that my dream can become real. This year, finalized my adoption. My time to become a mother has become a reality. You, John Cena, changed my life.
So it says he read every message, and there looks to be about 2
one
dozen.
more thing to show you. And we have a video of him just telling his story.
Sure.
My mom was diagnosed with breast cancer, and when she got her results, I asked her, what her results were. And she said they were positive. And I was crying, and I was shocked. John Cena's message helped my family because I got his wristband that he gave to me, and when my mom was having her 6-hour surgery, I gave her the wristband that I told her to never give up. And she's now cancer-free.
It's pretty cool. At a young age, he has such great perspective. It's really cool to see, man.
Boom, the kid comes out from behind the little curtain.
Thank you for everything you've done.
Stop.
For my family.
Get over here.
Gives him a big hug.
Throws him to the ground.
Yeah, you body slams him.
Coolest surprise ever.
That's quite the hug.
You're extremely strong, you know that?
And here's his mom.
That's pretty cool.
This is what you gave him. He made sure that through my cancer journey, he'd say, Mom, Cena says never give up. And I'm now cancer-free.
That's great. That's great.
Every single
one of those fans that wrote him a letter, they're all there.
Not handicapped, I'm capable because of your message.
Your mind goes to a dark place when you get injured. Never give up. And you know that I learned that from you. Fell into a deep depression, and I just given up on life. I got back on my feet. You showed me I can. I owe it all to you.
Give him one last hit.
Thank you for changing all of our lives.
That's extra special. Thank you. I don't know what to say. Just remember that you guys do the work, and I mean that. And don't think that you're the only one who's up against it, and don't think you're the only one who doesn't have challenges to face every day. Well, you all lead by example, and I mean it when I say it. Never give up. This is a championship squad right here. Pleasure to meet you. This is a great moment, like some really, really heartfelt stuff, and it's a reaffirming message of be mindful that your actions affect those close to you. Scared the jeebies out of me.
Our stories touched him.
How often does someone get to tell their hero about what they did for them? This is one of those extremely rare moments, and I really appreciate that.
That was the coolest surprise ever.
Hope you guys are having a night.
Where did that robot come from? Okay, here's
you
something.
guys are having.
I'm crying. That was a really special story, and but is like I don't think you can wrap your head around how freaking huge he is.
I don't either.
Like I have schmutz. He's plenty of people are buff, but they're my height at most. Like I'm tall for someone. I'm 5'10". I'm tall for super buff people,
right?
Because most of them are stocky little dudes. He's like your height,
yeah.
And
6'2".
jacked out of control and has a buff face.
Yeah, he does.
Like he's so buff, he has a buff face. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
I got to tell you though, the one guy who said you were the light in a decade, and that's crazy to get your head around.
It's so cheeseball.
It
like
is.
the idea of like this celebrity, especially a pro wrestler. Let's be honest, like this musclehead talking about never give up, never give up, never give up. But man, for a lot of people, that's just the one thing they needed when things got dark. So I thought that was a beautiful story.
That's fantastic. The next story comes out of Kansas. A DoorDash driver paid it forward.
Okay.
A homeowner basically, DoorDash drivers are people who work all day.
Yes, they do.
They do this for 10, 12 hours. They don't necessarily get a lot of thanks, but one family left some treats out for them. Look at this.
Drugs?
Effect of kindness in Mulvane. A DoorDash driver pays it forward to a homeowner for a good deed.
Cake's John Hayes on how one delivery made a big difference. It's new at 6.
What was supposed to be just a normal DoorDash delivery here at this Walmart in Derby, quickly turning into an act of kindness one DoorDash driver hopes will spark some change. On the road and ready to make the delivery. It's normally a thankless job for mail carriers and delivery drivers like Brenton Swart.
I work 12 hours a day. You know, sometimes I don't get breaks.
That's why Swart says he was stunned when what would normally be just another Walmart grocery delivery turned into a random act of kindness. Aww. A bucket of snacks and a message of hope left outside of a Mulvane home, encouraging him to hang in there.
It was pretty amazing, you know, just walking up and dropping it off and just picking up snacks.
The coronavirus pandemic has been hard on drivers like Swart, with the demand for contactless delivery surging. He says the extra work has taken its toll. This kindness, a reminder of just how valued he truly is.
There's no words to describe what they did that day. I hope even just the smallest things will actually make people realize that there's people out there that really do care.
Swart taking his own advice to heart, paying it forward to the Kansan who brightened up his day with a $25 gift card he's left on their porch. It's a small gesture, and he says he's not sure if their paths will cross again, but he's hopeful the generosity will spark more movement of kindness for years to come.
And to keep on doing what you're doing, because you'll be blessed one day.
In Mulvane, John Hayes, Cake News on your side.
That's, how about that? Yeah. A tiny little thing that made such a huge difference.
Well, yeah, it's just showing that you're concerned.
Some fuel for your day as you drive on your way, which is really a nice thing to do. I'd like to point out that they're not paying it forward, though. No one in that story paid it forward.
They're paying it back.
He's paid it back.
Yeah.
Because it's the same.
Have some candy.
He's outside the house, yes.
Yeah. You could have left a couple of adult gifts, is all I'm saying. And I don't mean like vibrators or anything. I'm just saying like beer, maybe. Like a, well,
it was a lot of delivery driver needs beer.
You don't have to drink it right there. I'm just saying the kid was like 20-something. It would be nice if you.
Dude, there was goldfish. Do you like goldfish?
I don't dislike goldfish, but I think they're overrated.
I would eat all of them.
A goldfish gets dominated by a Cheez-It.
Yeah, I like them both, but I don't know if there's any domination.
Okay, fine. A Cheeto, a hot Cheeto, beats up a goldfish and then craps on it. It's so much better.
Okay, I agree with that.
My point being is like, could it hurt? Would it hurt to throw in like a nice Heffenweisen or like a bong rip?
I mean, I feel like they did something exceptional just by leaving anything.
Okay. All right.
And you're mad that it's not a bong rip.
I'm not mad. I'm just saying, like know your audience. Like with
Santa
Claus.
There should be like a pipe sticking out the door. Yeah. Hey, take a puff on your way.
When I first moved to Venice, I tried really hard to like get to know my neighbors and stuff, because where I grew up, even though it was only like 20 miles away, it just wasn't like that. I didn't really know my neighbors and stuff. And so I was like, hey, I have this like really strange, weird community. I thought I'd really get to know my neighbors.
Did you go just knock on doors?
No. It's just like, but when I'd see them around and there was like, really, I was surrounded by a nice group of people. But one guy who was really, he was a car guy. I always see him working on, he had a really cool 70 Cheyenne Chevy pickup truck. And I was always talking about cars and everything. And he knocks on my door one night. It was a weeknight. I remember I was on my way, like getting ready to go to Loveline. It's probably like 7, 8 o'clock at night. And he's like, my buddies and I, we're next door. We're ripping some rails of meth. I was like, oh, thank you so much. And he was so genuine about it. He's like, you know,
as if it was a glass of water.
We got some tweak, bro. You want? And I was like, thank you so much for thinking of me. And I didn't go into this long thing like I'm a drug addict. Or I was just like, not for me. I'm going to work. Probably not a good idea.
That's a weird offer,
dude.
That's a weird offer.
You know what happened? I think we would talk Holly carburetors, and he saw tattoos, and he knew that I was into like old school punk. He's probably like, yeah, this guy wants a bet.
Makes sense.
I just thought that was very funny. So racism's bad. I think we can comfortably take that stance here on Great News. Racism
is bad.
Yeah, we're not fans.
No, agreed.
And I always found it really fascinating when someone, because I don't think racism, certain discrimination, I do think is unfortunately
necessary.
But unfortunately part of like just being not only a human but like a primate. Like when someone's different than you, there's this weird thing. So, but you work through that and you get to know people, but actual like racism, I do think is something that's probably taught to you. You don't like develop that on your own.
No, you learn that as you grow, I think.
And I've always found it really fascinating when people can kind of find their way out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And here is a older Southern racist who grew up in the Jim Crow South talking about how he found his way out of being racist. And I just thought that this was a really special kind of uplifting story.
Now, I have trouble telling this story.
Same, dude.
Franklin McCallie was born in the segregated South as a white privileged boy. McCallie grew up ignorant and deeply bigoted. 10 years old.
As a 10-year-old, I got on the bus from my school. Everybody was black. Except for one seat, there were no seats, and a black lady was sitting beside that seat. And this lady said, I'll never forget it. She said, honey, you can sit right here. And she patted the seat. Said, honey, twice. Honey, it's okay. You can sit. Elaine, I sat in that seat like this. I didn't move a muscle for 3 miles. I got off first. I went home. I didn't tell my parents I'd sat by a black woman.
McCallie hit a turning point in 1961. He begrudgingly attended a church meeting between his college and black students from another college. John was the black students' leader.
Finally, I decided I'd say something. I said, John, let me ask you something. How come black troops in World War II fought so miserably? They surrendered, they didn't fight very hard. He said, Frank, where'd you hear that? I said, my father told me that. Now, John could have said, your father's an idiot. If he'd said it, the conversation is over. I never would have gone anywhere. He didn't say that. He said, Franklin, I don't think you and I know enough about that to discuss it intelligently. Save my face, save my father's face. He said, but let me ask you something. You have anybody fight in World War II? I said, yeah, I had 2 uncles. One was in the Philippines. One was at Pearl Harbor when it was bombed. He said, is that right? He said, I did too. I had 2 uncles fight in World War II. I said, great. He said, you know where we eat lunch? I said, you don't eat with me. He said, that's right. My uncles and I, who fought in World War II for freedom and justice and pursuit of happiness, we get on a bus and we ride 2 miles out of town to eat lunch because none of the stores we shop in will let us eat. And my stomach got tight and I didn't want to hear any more. He said, did you go to the bathroom? I said, yeah, I go to the bathroom. He said, where do you go? I said, I go anywhere I want. He said, my uncles and I, we get on a bus. We ride 2 miles out of town to go to the bathroom because we can't go anywhere. I listened for the rest of the 3 hours. When I got to my dorm, I lay down and cried. I sobbed for 3 hours. Next day I went in and talked to the dean of men. I said, it's crazy. We're studying English and math and science. And right across the street over there, we got people, citizens we don't even know. It didn't make sense.
That marked the start of McCallie's transformation. Today, the boy who was afraid to sit next to a black woman now works to bring whites and blacks together.
I'm going to tell you, as this white person sitting here, I am absolutely certain I benefit.
I thought that was pretty.
That's quite a moving story.
Pretty touching. You know, it wasn't this, and now he has, you know, he married a black woman and he has 4 black. It's just that it was something so simple, and you get kind of like, there's no history book that would give you that kind of story. You have to experience. You're like, and also,
you need to meet everybody so that you realize how dumb that is.
Right. And I always, excuse me, I just had a stroke. I always think about the scene in the Jackie Robinson movie. I think it's 42 was the movie, where, you know, Jackie Robinson grew up where I grew up in Pasadena. And obviously there's racism there, and there still is, but it's different. And I remember the scene where Jackie Robinson first gets in to become a professional baseball player, and he's traveling.
He played basketball?
He played as well. And he is traveling around the country, and he gets off at the first bus stop, and he and his wife go to like use a water fountain, and it's like the black water fountain and the white, and he's like, oh, wait, what? You know, and I don't think
that should be his reaction.
Right, and you can read about it. I obviously am aware of like the Jim Crow South, or I'm aware of things that go on. But if you go and you see that, and you're like, what? What? Like, you're a dude who is scared to sit next to a black woman? Like it was a leper? You know, it's very strange, but I thought that was very nice.
But you're right, it is taught. Yeah. And he should have gone and punched his dad. That's what should have happened.
He should have kicked his dad right in the dick. But, you know, then you got to like think of the grand scheme of things. Like, imagine what his dad was taught. You know, I'm sure his dad doesn't naturally think that. His dad wasn't a little baby. He's like, oh, black people were lazy in World War II.
His dad probably taught him that.
Someone brought him up in that. And it's beautiful, I think, when you could see that kind of chain being broken.
And don't be stupid.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a good take-home message,
If you like this show, please subscribe. We would appreciate it.
Yes, we would. And like things. We had a little like button.
Sure, hit
Go
the
ahead
like.
And do that. I was watching... Oh, I had a very strange night last night. I know you've had trouble sleeping, too.
Yes.
That's the thing. So I had trouble sleeping, and I watched Eraserhead, and then I watched Total Recall. Okay?
Okay. Eraserhead's enough.
Yeah. But I watched Total Recall. Very good sci-fi movie from the 80s, but it's so 80s, and I wonder, just a quick little message, how much cocaine was really being done in Hollywood in the 80s, because there's a line. There's so many lines where you're like, what? Who wrote... At the end, Arnold kills Sub-Zero, like the guy who's on the ice skates. He kills him, and he goes, "You're Sub-Zero. Now you're just Zero." And I was like,
that's a step up, isn't it?
And I go, wait, Zero's bigger than Sub-Zero. Why would you? No one in the script writing process, no one who greenlit them, and none of the producers like, wait a second, guys. Zero bigger than Sub-Zero. Is anybody... I just wanted to add that in. Thank you.
At least Arnold's a guy who can make that sing. He can really deliver that line.
Sub-Zero.
Do it as Arnold, please.
Okay. Outro. Everybody, it's an outro. You know what I'm talking about, bro. It's like I'm coming every day. Yeah. They say hello to the happy, goodbye to the blues. Kevin and Mike are here to give you great news. Get to the chopper. Feel so buff. Kevin and Mike are here to give you great news.
Nice.